Here is a number that should bother you. At one outdoor retailer, camping tents range from under $50 all the way past $2,000. Same shelves. Same word on the label, tent. So how do smart campers know which ones are actually worth the money and which ones just look the part? We have been through the testing, the reviews, and the spec sheets, and today we are walking through 10 tent brands that genuinely earn their price. Stick around, because number 1 might surprise you. Number 10, Coleman. The brand smart beginners start with. Let us be honest about something. If you are buying your first tent, or you camp twice a summer in good weather, spending $400 is not smart, it is just expensive. That is exactly where Coleman earns its place. Coleman has been making tents since before most of these other brands existed, and the modern lineup, the Sky Dome, the Evans Ton, the Dark Room series, gives you a genuinely weatherproof shelter for somewhere between $80 and $150. The Dark Room models do something clever, too. The fabric blocks the vast majority of sunlight, so you are not blasted awake at 5 in the morning, and the interior stays noticeably cooler on a hot day. Now, here is the honest verdict. A Coleman will not match a premium tent for 10 years of hard use, and the poles are fiberglass, not aluminum. But for a casual camper? Paying triple for durability you will never use is the opposite of smart. Coleman is the brand you buy when you have correctly judged how much you actually camp. Number 9, Kelty. The value sweet spot nobody talks about. If Coleman is where you start, Kelty is where a lot of smart campers quietly settle and never feel the need to upgrade. Kelty lives in that middle zone the big premium brands would rather you skip right over. You are looking at roughly $150 to $300 for tents like the Wireless or the Discovery, and for that you get real aluminum poles, genuinely thoughtful design, and color-coded setup that does not leave you cursing in a dark campground. The thing smart buyers notice about Kelty is the catch: there really is not one. It is not the lightest. It is not the most prestigious badge at the trailhead. But it nails the fundamentals, season after season, without asking you to pay for a logo. Here is the verdict. Kelty is proof that the gap between a budget tent and a premium tent is not a cliff, it is a staircase. And Kelty is the step where most people should comfortably get off. Number 8, Eureka. The brand that quietly outvalues the giants. Eureka almost never gets hyped, and honestly, that is the whole point. This is a brand that has been making tents for over a century, and its family camping models, especially the Copper Canyon line, are a favorite of testers for one simple reason. You get near vertical walls, genuine standing headroom, 6 windows, 2 doors, at a price that consistently undercuts the trendier names. Independent testers have said it plainly. There is nothing flashy about a Eureka. It just comes at a great price, with a big footprint and excellent ventilation. The honest drawback? Some Eureka models use steel and fiberglass poles, which makes them heavy, and the bigger tents take real time to set up. This is not a backpacking brand. But here is the verdict. For a family that car camps and wants room to actually stand up and move around, Eureka delivers 80% of a premium tent, for roughly half the money. Smart buyers know the badge was never the part that kept the rain out. Number 7, the North Face. The smart splurge, not the dumb one. The North Face is interesting because the logo is everywhere, on ski slopes, in coffee shops, on people who have never seen a campsite. And that reputation makes smart campers suspicious. Fair enough. But here is the part that matters. When the North Face actually builds a tent, like the Wawona or the Stormbreak, it builds a genuinely good one. The Wawona is famous for an enormous vestibule, a 44 square foot garage for your gear, and the Stormbreak is one of the better budget tents going, real weather protection at a sane price. So what is the smart versus dumb line here? The dumb purchase is buying the logo. The smart purchase is buying the specific models the testers rate, and skipping the ones that are coasting on the brand name. The verdict. The North Face is a brand where you have to shop the model, not the badge. Do that, and a couple of their tents are genuinely worth it. Buy on the logo alone, and you are the customer they are counting on. Number 6, Marmot. The brand for people who camp in real weather. Marmot is the quiet expert's pick, and the reason is simple. Smart campers know that a tent is only as good as its worst night, and Marmot designs for the worst night. The tungsten line is the one testers keep coming back to. It is a backpacking and car camping tent that punches well above its roughly $200 to $300 price, with strong weather resistance, smart pole geometry, and what reviewers call genuine value for budget-minded buyers who still refuse to gamble on a storm. Here is the honest part. Marmot is not the lightest brand, and it is not the cheapest. If you only ever camp on calm, sunny weekends, you are paying for engineering you will not fully use. But the verdict is this. If your camping season runs from cold spring into wet autumn, Marmot is the brand that lets you sleep through a storm instead of lying awake listening to it. That peace of mind is the smart money. Number 5. Gazelle. The brand for people who hate setting up tents. Let us talk about the single most underrated factor in tent buying, the setup. Because the smartest tent in the world is useless if you are still fighting it after dark. Gazelle built its whole reputation on this. The T-Series hub tents pop into shape in a couple of minutes, straight out of the box. You deploy the ceiling, extend the 4 sides, stake it down, done. And it is not just a gimmick. These tents have genuine center height, often 6.5 feet, plenty of mesh windows, and they have held up in testing through 40-mile-per-hour gusts, driving rain, and even wet snow. The honest drawback. Gazelle tents are bulkier and heavier folded than a traditional tent, and they are not cheap, often $300 and up. The verdict. If you camp often, value your time, and arrive at the campsite tired, a Gazelle is the smart buy. You are not paying for fabric. You are paying to never lose an hour of daylight to a pile of poles. Number 4. Mountain Hardwear. The brand that builds tents to outlive you. Mountain Hardwear is what happens when a brand decides good enough is not good enough. This is a company with serious mountaineering roots, and even its more approachable tents, like the Mineral King, carry that DNA, high-quality poles, excellent fabrics, and stitching reinforced exactly where tents normally fail. The Mineral King has scored high with testers across every category that matters. So here is the honest catch. You pay for this. Mountain Hardwear sits at the premium end, and if you camp 3 weekends a year in July, this is genuinely more tent than you need. But the verdict is about the long game. A cheap tent replaced every 3 years is not a bargain, it is a subscription. Mountain Hardwear is the brand smart buyers choose when they have decided to buy once, properly, and not think about tents again for a decade. The price is high. The cost per night, over the life of the tent, is not. Number 3. MSR. The brand professionals actually trust. MSR is the name you see when you start looking at what serious people use, the guides, the testers, the campers who treat gear as equipment rather than decoration. The Habescape and Hubba Hubba lines show why. MSR uses its own Eastern Cyclone poles, which are engineered to flex hard in wind instead of snapping, and reviewers consistently trust MSR tents in genuinely sketchy weather. The designs are smart in the small ways too: real headroom, dual vestibules, ventilation that actually works. The honest drawback. MSR is a premium brand with premium prices, and the lineup leans toward backpackers and serious campers rather than the casual once-a-year crowd. The verdict. MSR is not the brand you buy to impress anyone, because most people will not even recognize the name. It is the brand you buy because the people who camp for a living do. That is the quietest, smartest endorsement there is. Number 2. Nemo. The brand that fixed the thing every tent gets wrong. Nemo, spelled N-E-M-O, earns this spot for one genuinely clever piece of thinking. Every camper knows the problem. It rains, the tent fabric soaks through, and by morning your shelter is sagging and limp. Nemo's answer is its own fabric, called Osmo, a blend of polyester and nylon that resists sagging, sheds water, and, worth noting, is made from recycled yarns and is free of the so-called forever chemicals. That is not marketing fluff. That is solving an actual problem you have actually had. And Nemo backs it with smart, livable design across tents like the Dragonfly, the Aurora, and the Wagon Top, color-coded corners, generous headroom, intuitive setup. The honest drawback. Nemo is a premium brand, and you pay accordingly. The lightest, most advanced models climb well past $400. The verdict. Nemo is the smart buy for the camper who has been burned by a wet, droopy tent before and has decided, never again. You are paying for engineering that targets a real failure, not a feature on a box. Number 1, Big Agnes. The brand that does almost everything right. And the top spot goes to Big Agnes, the brand that independent testers, again and again, simply rank first. Here is why it earns it. Big Agnes covers the full range, from the Copper Spur, repeatedly named the best backpacking tent by multiple testing labs, to roomy car camping models like the Big House and the Bunk House. Across that whole lineup, the obsessive details show up: color-coded setup, one-handed doors, high-quality poles, solution-dyed fabrics that are easier on the environment, and reinforced stitching exactly where stress lands. Now, the honest verdict, because smart buying means clear eyes. Big Agnes is expensive. A Copper Spur is a serious investment, and the ultra-light models use thin floor fabric that you genuinely have to treat with care. But here is the thing. Across price, design, durability, and resale value, Big Agnes is the brand that gets the fewest things wrong. It is not the cheapest. It was never trying to be. It is the brand smart campers buy when the goal is simply the best tent and the confidence of never wondering whether they should have bought something else. So let us bring it home. Here is the smart way to think about all 10. If you are starting out, Coleman is enough, and there is no shame in that. Kelty and Eureka are the value sweet spots where most campers should honestly land. The North Face is worth it if you shop the model and ignore the logo. Marmot is for real weather. Gazelle is for anyone who values their time and their daylight. And at the top, Mountain Hardwear, MSR, Nemo, and Big Agnes are the buy-it-once brands, the ones where the high price quietly becomes a low cost per night. Because the smartest tent buyers know one thing. The goal was never to spend the most, or the least. It was to match the tent to the camper. Do that, and you sleep well. Literally. Now we want to hear from you. Which tent brand are you running, and would you buy it again? Drop it in the comments, and we will see you at the next one.